Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining another Bake with Mr. Price. I have a really fun recipe I want to share with you. If you're tired of eating meatloaf or ground beef, I have a really nice vegetarian version of a meatloaf that I came up with after reading lots of different recipes and trying different recipes. I came up with my own and I want to share it with you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need a slow cooker, and you're going to take one bag like this of lentils, and I actually use the French lentils sometimes, which are really nice. So you want to dump a bag of this in. You want to put in about 3 carrots, put in about 2 stalks of celery, cut it up and throw it in, chop up an onion and put it in, pour 32 ounces of chicken stock over the lentils. If you're vegan, you can do water. And you also want to put in 1 container of sofrito. Now, this stuff is green peppers, onions, and a bunch of other wonderful ingredients that flavor the lentils really nicely. You also can put in about a teaspoon or so, or more, of garlic, however much you like. So, put in some salt and put in some pepper, and let that go for about 8 hours on low. Now, after you've done that, and it's cooled off, this is what it's going to look like. Now, I took half of it out because I'm only making 1 loaf of meat, but this recipe would make 2 smaller loaves if you use all of the lentils. So I took half of it out because I'm going to use the other half for something else. Now, once it cools off, in a frying pan, you want to take one of those little blue containers of mushrooms and just fry them like that. Don't put any oil in them. Actually, what I do is I take the lid to the slow cooker and I just put it on top of the mushrooms and let the steam soften the mushrooms and cook them. You want the mushrooms to be as dry as possible. That's key to making this meatloaf, I learned, is all the ingredients have to be dry because you want it to be able to stick together. Okay? So once you have your mushrooms done like this, and once your lentils are ready, you're going to combine the two in your pan. I do it right in the crock pot. Okay? And you're going to need one of these emulsifiers. Okay? So I'm gonna just basically mush this up until it creates a pulp. So I'm going to just take that off. And now what I have is the base of my meatloaf. Now to flavor this and to season it, I'm going to take some parsley, dried parsley, and for this you don't really have to measure, which is nice when you're doing this for the first time. I just like to take a big capful like that, throw it in. I'm also going to put some garlic powder, and again, I don't really measure, I just kind of sprinkle some in. Onion powder, put in about like that much, a couple teaspoons. This is key, this stuff right here, it's Bell's seasoning. You use this around Thanksgiving time to flavor your turkey and all your stuffings and stuff like that. And I find putting this in really gives it a nice flavor. So to this, I like to put in a couple sprinkles of this. I like a lot of it. So put as much in as you like. And then finally, you're going to need some breadcrumbs to help kind of just bind it together a bit. So you don't need a lot, okay? So again, I don't really have an amount, so I'm just gonna sprinkle a little in to get it started. And I'm going to use my spatula that I've been using and just start to incorporate that together. Okay. I think I need a little more. So when you're done, it should be nice and firm. Okay, that's looking pretty good. You can see how it's nicely sticking together. One thing I learned in making these types of recipes is don't try to make it taste like beef. It's not beef, it's lentil. And enjoy it for what it is. It doesn't have to taste like beef meatloaf for it to be a loaf, if that makes any sense. So now I have a container that what I did was I took a little bit of olive oil and I just rubbed it inside with a paper towel, nothing fancy. And I'm just going to plop this in. By the way, this makes really nice lentil burgers if you want to shape them into little patties, and you can bake them in a toaster oven. But I like the loaf because I like cutting it into slices when it's done. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just get it off the edge, and I'm going to kind of mush it into a shape. It's always a little messy, right? Okay. And I like to kind of just give it a nice little dome shape. And if you want, which I love doing, I know some people might not like doing this, but you can put a thin layer of ketchup across the top, which I'm gonna do because I like it when the ketchup cooks and it caramelizes and it gives it a really nice, dark, sweet texture on top. So I'm gonna put some ketchup on top, and then I'm gonna put this into my toaster oven, and I'm gonna let it go probably for about 40 to 50 minutes. You have to keep an eye on it, and you wanna cook it, I would say probably about 400 degrees. All right, so I'm gonna just squirt some ketchup on. And I'm gonna use my spatula and just get it around the edges. Okay. So there it is. It's ready to go in. Okay, so you can see that the lentil loaf looks great. And one way to know that it's done is you'll see it starting to peel off the edges of the container. That's one way to know that you're almost done. But what I'm gonna do now is put the loaf under the broiler in the toaster oven for about a minute or two, just to darken the ketchup and caramelize it a little bit more. Okay, so the loaf came out of the oven, and you can see that the ketchup on top got slightly browned. So now I'm going to cut it into slices like this, just cut it across. And you can see that it does indeed cut well. And now it's time just to taste it. So I'm gonna get a plate and give it a try. And let's try it out. So good. I hope you liked the lentil loaf. Maybe you'll give it a try. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day.